I.e., we are live, brother.
No matter who you with, you gotta feel it shit. No matter who you with, you gotta feel it shit. This that raw, that dope, that pure uncut cocaine. This that raw, that dope, that pure uncut cocaine.
Hey.
All that weight I lost, I gained it back.
Get him, Gino, get him.
Got released, did another prison sentence. So many days that I spent repenting, cause things not going the way I envisioned. I'm rapping like me from a different dimension. I only got love.
Come on, Gino.
You was struggling vicious.
That's so hard.
Now you call that other nigga your
baby daddy. Wet works. Come on.
My estimated net worth is enough to make your chest hurt.
Oh, come on, Gino. Come on.
Gino.
Good
morning, Chicago and the rest of the world. Welcome to the MONEYSEXGENX podcast. I am your host with the most, the man with the plan, the Scottie Pippen of podcast pimping.
Indeed. There he is.
Eric McLeod, and I am joined by...
It's early, too early.
No problem. Joined by the titan of Team Tech, music mogul in the making.
Indeed.
The Rasheed Wallace of podcast knowledge. Because you never know what he's going to do. My co-host, my brother, the homie, Big Stu.
Bo.
Big Stu, you're killing them today with that ensemble, brother. You are killing them.
That's what you do to people. You make people step their game up, bro. You make people step their game up, man.
I love it.
And I'm tripping on how we compliment the color coordinations today, man. That's wild business.
True indeed. Man, that hat is ill. Man. Love it. I love it. Great way,
brother.
No question. Great way to start off the show today.
Love it.
As we always do, I want to ask you real quick, brother, as we dive into season, and let me make sure I get this right. Stop me if I'm wrong, brother. This is season 3.
Yeah.
Episode 4.
Wow.
Why are you a bad parent?
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. And I want to, on this episode, so last week we shouted out France and Germany. This week I want to shout out New Jersey, and Brooklyn. Man, they are downloading those audio episodes like crazy. So shout out to the East Coast as always, but specifically this week, shout out to Jersey and shout out to Beat Times. So yeah, we're here this week. We're talking about the subject of, we're going to dive into this in a minute. We got some special guests today, very different from our guests in the past. So we're looking forward to talking to them. We'll intro them. But before we do that, Stu, I want to do our segment of what's on your radar. So was there anything that was on your radar last week that's significant?
I think we talked about it. I don't know. Did we talk about it? But that it was GameStop, man. It was the stock market, man. It was the that was on my radar this past week. How the generations divided. It looked like the youngins got upset with the oldens and took them to the bank. That's what it looks like. That was on my radar, man. That was it for me. And then of course, leading into the only other thing that's been on my week outside of that is that tomorrow is my birthday.
Yes, it is, man.
Yeah,
I was gonna bring that up.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm stepping into a new decade.
Yeah, no question.
How
does that feel?
It feels great. And that's a whole episode in itself. But of course, you measure where you are with where you thought you'd be at a certain point or where you'd like to be. And, there's still more work for me to do. But nevertheless, man, let me tell you one thing I'm not short of. I'm not short of love from my people.
Indeed.
And so that alone is more than enough. I'm good, brother. Absolutely good. So it feels great, man. Feels great.
I can't wait. I'm a little bit behind you, so I'm going to be watching how you handle things so I can use your example as always. But yeah, that's good to hear that you feel good about that.
Yeah. I thought I was planning to be in Cabo for this weekend.
Okay.
And of course, I'm not in Cabo.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I'll make it up because my lady has a big birthday coming up this year. And the talk is that we'll be in Cabo or Mexico or something this fall for her birthday.
Nice.
So all year I'm celebrating half a century all year.
That's what's up.
This is my century year.
That is
half a century year. So
yeah,
that's what's up. What has been on the radar for you?
Yeah, man. And honestly, I have been thinking about the fact that you're about to turn the big 5-0, you know what I mean? Significant for me too. We met each other last year and we've been vibing out, just doing a lot of different projects. So that's definitely been on my mind. And it makes me feel great to know that that's something that you feel good about. And yeah, I was checking in on the stock market last week, in the last couple of weeks, a lot of crazy stuff going on. I know I had posted on Facebook this quote, something to the effect of, if you don't follow the stock market, you're missing some amazing drama.
Yeah.
And man, the stock market did not disappoint last week. We saw the power of, and I'm going to just touch on this real quick. We saw the power of the retail investor. We always feel like the hedge funds and all these big conglomerate people have all the power, but Reddit users showed and proved how much power the retail investor has. And that impacted GameStop, AMC, BlackBerry, and a couple of other companies.
Yeah. Did you get in on any of it?
Absolutely. Yes, I did. Absolutely. Wow. And,
congratulations.
Yeah, I'm always trying to get in before things get overinflated. So I got in. I definitely got in.
Good for you, brother.
Yeah, man. So that was that. And then I think people are watching crypto. I got introduced to Dogecoin, if I'm pronouncing that right.
Dogecoin.
So I'm definitely got in on that as well. And we're going to see how that does. And if you're out there, I'm not giving any financial advice. We don't do that on the show. But keep your eye on that, because the Reddit users on, it's a social media platform. They're doing the same thing with Dogecoin that they did with GameStop. They're trying to. So might want to keep an eye on that.
Now, and if I will just say, although we are not giving any advice on what to invest in or any of that, but I will say this: if you do invest, just let me not even say that. I know my strategy is I'm not a day trader. I don't do options trading per se, but I hold on. So I'm the buy and hold guy. I'm a slow and steady wins the race guy. That's what works for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm the buy at a discount and hold guy.
Buy low, hold.
Yeah, they got the buy low and sell high, but I do the buy low and hold.
Buy low and hold.
Yeah. So I know everybody got their strategies out there. Last comment on that, I was encouraged because I noticed a lot more Black men are in the markets. I saw a couple of videos that Dr. Boyce did. He had some brothers on there having conversations. That made me really feel good. And they're not just trading. They're very knowledgeable about what's going on. So big up to all the brothers that are out there trading. Anybody that's out there trading, but definitely the brothers that's out there holding it down and taking advantage of these wealth transfers.
Yeah, man. A lot of millionaires were made this week.
Yes.
New millionaires were made this week.
Absolutely.
And that's a good thing. I'm here for that.
No doubt. Same here. All right. So that was an interesting week. So we have this topic this week. Are you a bad parent? As always, we got some actual factuals that I want to start off with. But Big Stu, I think you had a couple of things that you wanted the viewers to be aware of.
Yeah. So I do want to know one of the things, well, first off, I wanted people to know, like this, share this, subscribe to our channel. When you see this on YouTube, like and share this show. So I just, hey, absolutely like and share this show. The other thing that I wanted to ask the viewers, hey, put in the chat, tell us, where are you watching from? If you're listening to this at a later time other than the live, send us an email or something. Let us know where you're listening from, right? So please let us know where you're watching from. Let us know where you're listening from. And I also want to remind people of this last one here, Eric. What will make this far more engaging than it already is, and it's fun and engaging. Ask us anything. You can ask us anything, and we'll decide if we want to answer it. But please feel free to ask us anything. So that's all I wanted to make sure that you like and follow. And also, I cannot do this without, I have to remind folks, we have merch.
Yes.
We have merch.
Yep.
Please go to our store, MONEYSEXGENX podcast.com. There's a link in the chat. We have hoodies for the ladies in all different flavors. We have, of course, our mugs with the, what do you call that inside? What do you call that color on the inside?
We got the mugs with the red piping.
The red piping.
Yeah.
We added mugs with black piping as well.
Yes.
Of course, I really like that. This is sexy to me. I really like this. So, fellas, grab this for your significant other,
for sure.
Whomever that may be. And of course, we got the classic. Now, I did learn this is about to be discontinued. This style is about to be discontinued. And so you better go ahead and grab it now, and then you'll have a vintage classic. So we do have merch. And so that's what I wanted to remind the people of.
All right, bet. I got to grab that baseball tee for sure. I want to shout out my friend Rosalind Alexis. She has been interested in the show for a while. She had a little bit of trouble finding it the last couple of times, but she made it.
From the A.
Yeah, so she's actually from New York, where she's living out in that area right now.
Okay.
She's from the BX. But yeah, thank you for joining, and it's great to have you. Great to have you. All right, so let's do it. Let's get into it. So why are you a bad parent? So Stu, I approached the actual factuals a little bit different this week. I didn't necessarily do statistics, but what I did do is, and I never really thought about this, but it's an obvious thing. So as I was doing research for the show, I learned that people are typically categorized in 4 major categories in terms of what type of parent they are.
Okay.
You ever heard anything about that? These 4 major categories?
No, I haven't.
Okay. So I'm going to read them out real quick. Basically, the 4 styles of parents. So number 1 is the authoritarian.
Okay.
The authoritarian, for what I'm reading, is they focus more on obedience and punishment. That's their style. That's their parenting style. Okay?
Wow.
Number 2, we got the authoritative.
Okay.
The authoritative parent, from what I'm researching, they have a positive relationship with the child, but they also are into enforcing rules.
Okay.
Right. So I guess they're a little bit cooler, but you still got to follow the rules. Right.
All right.
Number 3 is the permissive parent. The permissive parents, they have rules, but they don't necessarily enforce them. Right. So, you can't do this, but then the child ends up doing it anyway. And then number 4 is the uninvolved parent. Right. And I think we all are aware of this parent. This is the parent, they definitely are the parent, but they're not really involved in the day-to-day or the sort of the, kind of get a sense of what's going on with the child and, kind of checking in on the child.
Wow.
Those are the 4.
Did you know that?
I didn't know. I never really thought about those. I never really thought about parenting in that way. No.
Okay. Okay. Wow. The authoritarian, the authoritative, the permissive, and the uninvolved.
Uninvolved. Yeah. So when we think about this topic of why are you a bad parent, the first thing I thought of is I wonder which categories people who are pegged as bad parents, I mean, I would imagine they would fall into the uninvolved category.
Okay.
But I could see how the authoritarian might possibly be pegged as also a bad parent if they're into the obedience and punishment. And I think when we use the word punishment, I don't think it's necessarily intended to mean that they're abusing. It's just more of like if they tell you you can't watch your phone, for example, and they catch you watching the phone, then now we have to have a punishment. You know, you have to be on punishment for a week or whatever it is.
Okay. That's what's up. Wow. Well, what is your parenting style? Which one are you?
I consider myself the authoritative.
And give us that definition again for those who are just joining in, or what is that? The authoritative is what?
The authoritative is the person that is trying to maintain a positive relationship with the child while enforcing rules.
Okay.
Now, I do slip at times into the permissive. You know, we all get busy or we're just tired. And it's like, yo, I told you don't do X, Y, Z, but you just let them go ahead at times. I slip into that at times.
What do you have a right answer? Like, which one is the parenting style to what's the best or right parenting style? Do you have that answer?
I don't really know. And I want to ask you this as well. Like, I feel like it depends on what type of child you have. Because I can see where if you're permissive with some children that are pretty sort of responsible, quote unquote, you may not have to keep enforcing a bunch of rules all the time. But, you know, and then you might have a child where you need to be having these ongoing punishments, quote unquote, you know, because that's just the type of child they are. So I think it varies. What do you think?
I think it has just a lot to do with how I was parented. How I was parented. What type of parents did I have?
Okay.
My dad was a strict disciplinarian.
Okay. So he was an authoritarian.
He was an authoritarian. He was a military guy.
Okay.
You know, authoritarian. But I also saw him laughing and having fun, and he had jokes. Okay. He had lots of jokes. He's great sense of humor. My mom was, I guess she would be more, what did you, authoritative?
Yeah, the authoritative is a positive relationship, but still has rules. They try to.
Yeah, that's my mom, authoritative. So yeah. I'm a combination of both, but I also think I'm sometimes uninvolved and permissive.
Wow. Okay. That's truthful. That's honest. That's candid. That's what we do on this show. We keep it
a buck.
Keep it a buck. We keep it real at all times. I feel that. Yeah, I don't know if I would say I'm uninvolved, but you know, the children may have a different point of view, of course, right? Yeah. So I do want to, I'm thinking now as you shared what your parents' style was. So my father was he was on that authoritarian tip.
Yeah, man.
For sure. He was ex-military and he's like, yo, this is the rules and regulations. This is what it is. And, you know, there were clear punishments handed out.
Yeah.
Now, he was working quite often. So my mother was the one who was there most of the time. So her style slid between authoritative and a little permissive at times.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, so that was her style. So I think I'm a mixture of her as well. I'm authoritative.
Now, I also want to clarify. I don't want people thinking I'm saying I'm uninvolved, meaning I ain't involved with my kids. That's not the definition of uninvolved. Can you give that definition of uninvolved again?
Yeah, the uninvolved, from what we researched, is little guidance, nurturing, or attention. So it's not like you're not doing it at all. It's just not a lot. From what
I think, yeah, my kids may, because I know my number one complaint from my kids is that I'm always lecturing. So I'm clear that I'm always giving guidance.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Always giving guidance.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Yeah. So, okay. So now I guess I know what type of parent I am. It's in terms
you're authoritative.
Authoritative, sometimes permissive.
Yeah.
Which one did you say you were?
Well, I did say I said I'm a mixture of them all. I would say I'm probably leading with man, I'm probably if I'm being honest, I'm permissive. I'm uninvolved, but authoritative.
Okay.
But I'm authoritarian is that discipline. See, I got this thing called the countdown. I do this countdown, bro. And all my kids know when I go 5, 4, they straighten up.
Okay.
3, 2. But there's something, my little man teach, my 15, 16-month-old, he wait until I get to the 1. But when I get to 1, most of the time he's correcting actions, brother.
You know what time it is.
Yeah. So I permissive, uninvolved, authoritative, I think. Permissive, uninvolved. Yeah, I'm in there, man. I'm real laid back.
Okay.
Kids get away with a lot.
Now, I have been accused in certain moments of being authoritarian.
Oh, I could see that, though. I would expect that, man. Like, bro, what is you doing?
Yeah, I mean, I will say this, though. I feel like like you said, I'm pretty laid back. When it gets to that point, it's because I've said this thing to you so many times.
Yeah.
And so dad has lost his patience at that point, but sometimes children don't remember the 100 other times that you asked them to do a thing, right?
Absolutely, right.
So, you might get accused of authoritarian a couple of times,
Hey, that's what men, hey, we're when it comes to good cop, bad cop, I think many of us, maybe not all of us, we get to play the bad cop. I think sometimes I get caught up playing the good cop sometimes too, though.
No doubt.
Interesting. This is going to be an interesting conversation.
It is. And I really want people out there who may not have children yet, especially, to start thinking about what your parenting style will be. I mean, that's not really so-called what this conversation is about per se, but it comes into play, which is your style going to be? Are you going to be authoritative, permissive, uninvolved? I don't think anybody would say they're going to be uninvolved, but like the first two, I think probably a lot of people would sort of know, hey, now I'm going to be authoritarian or I'm going to be authoritative. So yeah, think about that. And ask yourself, am I going to shift that based on what type of child that I have, or am I going to just be straight this one style regardless?
Yeah, I'd like to hear from the people that are listening. What's your parenting style? Is it authoritative, authoritarian, permissive, or uninvolved? Based on the conversation that we had.
And I'd also like to know, anybody that's out there listening, how were you parented?
Whoa.
What was the style of your parents?
Wow.
And did you like that style?
Wow. Okay. Well, that's what's up, man. So hey, man, it's almost time for us to dig into it, man.
Let's do it. So we have some special guests today. Big Stu and I actually decided to bring on our sons. So we got Trent Stewart and we have Eric. Can you join us, sir? We got little Eric, my son, and we thought it was important. I was on a conference call with Big Stu one time about something that had nothing to do with this, but maybe it kind of did, but we were talking about education. And Stu made the comment that whenever dealing with education, you want to make sure that you get the point of view of the children, of the youth.
Yeah.
And so I thought back to that at the beginning of this episode, and I wanted to see if we could bring our sons on this show.
Okay.
So can you see Eric?
He's got to get up on your shoulder. He's got to get up on your shoulder, man. He got to be touching you, man. You got to get close. There we go. He's in there.
All right.
He's in there. Let me make sure I got a proper. There we go. We gotta make sure you get a proper setup. Okay. Yeah, we're good. Okay.
Yeah, okay. So everybody's here. So Trent, how you doing this morning?
Oh. Test.
I'm doing good. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you. Little Stu.
That's what he'd like to be called, man. My pops was Big Stu. I was Little Stu till I became Big Stu. And so he's taking that on as well. That's Little Stu. That's what he go by.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is Little Eric. I don't know if he likes to be called Little Eric. Do you like to be called that?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know. So what I'm going to ask you, and Trent, I have been talking to your dad for a while about you and Little Eric meeting. Maybe we'll set something up offline one day, but I thought that you all should meet because from what I've heard, you all have similar interests. You're both extremely intelligent and inquisitive. And I just thought y'all would make y'all might end up being business partners like me and your father. So I wanted you all to meet. But for today, we're going to meet on here. So could you introduce yourself to the people, Trent, Little Stu?
My name is Trent Stewart. What should I say? I'm 12 years old.
What grade are you in?
I'm in 6th grade. And
what do you do for fun? What do you like to do in your spare time or your favorite sport or something?
My favorite sport is basketball. I like to play video games in my spare times. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay. All right. And Little Eric, can you introduce yourself to the people?
Mine just pretty much like his.
Speak up.
Mine just pretty much like his. I'm 12. I'm in 7th grade, and I like to play basketball, and I like to play video games.
Okay. And I think you also, and hopefully you don't mind me bringing this up, I think you have a YouTube channel that you're working on.
Oh, yeah. I like to promote my YouTube channel. That one puffy hair kid.
What's the name of it again?
That one puffy hair kid.
That one puffy hair kid is Eric's YouTube channel. So go check him out. I hope he still has some content up. You know what I mean? Or something on the way again. He has something that had a little buzz going. So, we'll see. But anyway, yeah, thank you all for introducing yourselves. So we got this topic today. Why are you a bad parent? Now, I know most children, most youth, I'll call you all, young men, are watching things on an ongoing basis, whether it be on your iPad, on the television, this, that, and the third. You're watching a lot of TV shows. Let's start there. From the TV shows that you've watched, and you all can just jump in, what have you seen displayed as the characteristics of a bad parent? What's a bad parent look like on TV?
I'd say like.
Look at the camera.
I'd say parents that are like addicted to something. That addiction makes them go away from their kids or something, and they don't spend a lot of time on their kids when they force like their ex-wife or something to focus on the kids because they can't. I feel like that leaves not a positive impact.
Okay.
Yeah, they may like disrespect their kids and maybe like hit them sometimes and, not treat them well. And,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen all of that on TV too. Yeah. What about you, Big Stu?
Bad parents?
What's a bad parent look like on TV?
On TV, bad parents. So I have to be careful with this because I don't want anybody to feel judged. But I think to me, on what I see on TV, a bad parent is somebody who overexposes their children to more adult behaviors. They overexpose them like way too early to certain things, right? So, for me, I don't mind being. I'm going to be, very, very transparent. I have a filthy mouth, and I don't censor for my children, right? So that may be, but that may be bad parenting by some people's standards, right? And I think I see it on TV when it's just like turning that conversation on to your children like talking, cursing your kids.
Yeah.
Something that's like, I think that's bad parenting.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
When I first asked Eric if he would be on the show, and I really wasn't sure you would come on, honestly.
Yeah, I didn't think Trent. I didn't think Trent was going to come on. I was surprised.
Yeah, Big Stu and I were both pleasantly surprised that you all wanted to come on. But as soon as I asked Eric if he wanted to come on the show, the first thing he did was ask me, what did I consider a bad parent?
Whoa.
Do you remember what my answer was?
Yeah.
Talk to the camera.
He didn't really have an answer. He said that he was trying to do more research on the subject.
Yeah.
So let's try. I don't know what the style was here today, Eric. Big Eric. But maybe, you direct some questions towards Lil Stu and I direct some questions towards Lil Eric.
I like that.
Hey, there'd be a little more candid. I put a Trent is in the house with me, but I gave him his own space. I wanted him to feel comfortable, in his own. But Lil Eric, I'm going to ask you a very, 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 very important question.
I already know what it is. I already know.
Is your dad a bad dad?
No.
What makes him not a bad dad?
I feel like he's always really there and pretty open, so I can have like conversations with him whenever I want. And I feel like in bad situations, he doesn't really go straight to yelling. He talks it out first, and then we talk about how we can improve and do stuff like that. Most bad parents would just go straight to yelling and punishment and stuff like that, but he doesn't really do stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
I like this guy. He's cool. So, Little Stu, I'm going to ask the same question a little bit different, though. I know your dad is not a bad dad. I'm just going to jump straight into what are the things that you appreciate the most about your father?
Whoa.
I like that. Like, he teaches me things and he tries to expose me to the real world and tell me things that will happen. And like, he'll try to make me turn into a man as quick as possible and try to help me save money and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my
No
God.
question.
Oh
No question.
God,
Wow.
Damn.
I love that.
I was not expecting that from him, man.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Look,
that's a great compliment to pay.
Man, got me blinking fast, man. Look, you got me blinking fast.
So Trent is very clear about the fact that you're trying to guide him towards manhood.
Yeah, we talk about it a lot. We have we have very candid, mature, real conversations.
Yeah,
I'm not overexposing him to stuff, but I'm exposing him to stuff right now that he should be exposed to at 12, about to be 13 this year. And I'm holding him accountable. And it's not always sweet, right, Lil Stu? Sometimes we have some debates. We have some conversations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No doubt. Now, one follow-up question, because I'm a similar parent to your dad from what I'm hearing. I do a lot of teaching, and I want to ask you, at times, do you get tired of the teaching that's being given to you from your father?
Yeah, sometimes he goes too extra on it, and sometimes it's annoying. Sometimes, yeah.
Okay.
I appreciate that honesty, bro. I've heard it. I've heard that before. Lil Eric. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I feel like sometimes his opinions on the subject seem like kind of like devil's advocate, kind of trying to like see a different point of view. But sometimes it's like, sometimes it's, I don't know, weird. Like we were talking about Kanye West or something, and I was talking about how Kanye West is crazy and all that. And then he was talking about the other side of Kanye West, where he's a businessman and a billionaire and all that. but sometimes that's helpful because you get to see a different kind of perspective.
Now I want to follow up that question with another question, because I ask my son this all the time, and I wonder if I honestly get a real answer. What do you expect from your dad? Like, what kind of dad do you expect your dad to be?
An open person. Like,
and like that's enough for you, just to be open-minded? Like, please elaborate.
Like, I feel like, I expect to be like an open, predictable and stable person. Because sometimes when you have dads that are just like unpredictable and stuff, it's kind of hard to have a conversation. It's kind of hard to have a conversation or relate to them. But I can really relate to him, which is nice. Yeah.
Okay. Appreciate that.
Open.
This is cool because you don't necessarily hear this type of feedback from your children on a day-to-day basis. So, I mean, it's obviously it's good when somebody's saying great things about you, but it also is just sort of refreshing to actually hear these things.
Yeah, but I'm skeptical in moments like this too, because I'm always talking to Trent about being honest, right? And so it is easy in moments like this to say good things, right? But the good things are good, but I'm the type of person, I'm always looking to improve and be better. So I need some criticisms. I want to focus on some of the criticisms so I can improve. You know, what could dads do? What would you say to dads to be better dads? And I know this is about parents, but I'm specifically talking about dads. What advice would you give to dads to be better dads?
Let's shoot this one a little, Stu.
I would say to like be as honest to your kid as possible, like even if it's not good. Just like don't like lie to them and try to make them feel good, you know.
So don't lie just to make them feel good. Tell them the truth, even if it hurts, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Always be. Do you feel like I do that with you?
Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes that truth be hurting, don't it? One to grow on. Lil Eric, you got any opinion about it?
I'd say to always appreciate like your children's accomplishments and never focus on like the negative and stuff like that. And I say that to always try to get your kid to, I don't know how to say it. Well, always trying to make the best for your kid, like if they grow up and stuff, so they're well-minded around, and make sure they have just a good life after they grow up.
Okay.
Wow.
Now, Stu, I'm going to say this about my children. So I have two. They're not the type to pretend. They're like their father. Like if he has something, he would definitely do it. If his sister was on here, they would definitely. And he's laughing because he knows, like, we don't do it pretending at all. So I really do want to say that. I remember that time we were in DC and we were walking around and me and your sister were arguing about which country was better, France or Thailand. And we were getting it in. Like, you would have thought, you know, if it wasn't my child, we might come to blows or something. Like, it was we have those types of debates in our family. Like, we go hard. Like, because everybody's very opinionated and they'll stand on whatever they believe something, you know, is. So I remember that for some reason as we were talking, just that particular moment in DC where me and Asia were doing that.
Yeah, that went on for a while.
Yeah, it went on for a while because he was kind of looking like, yo, y'all serious? Like,
right.
Going to the pool or something.
So which country is better?
Yo, I told her, and I'm going to stand on this, I felt like Thailand was way better than Paris. We were talking about specifically Bangkok versus Paris. And I felt like Bangkok is definitely, and if she's watching this, she probably jump in the comments, but Paris was trash to me. You know,
Wow.
say that.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right.
So
Okay.
we did that.
Go ahead. No, please. Okay.
No, you got it.
I made a post yesterday or something about this conversation. And I was saying that this conversation is going to be about parenting our sons, parenting our daughters, co-parenting, and parenting our sons and parenting while Black. So I want to start with little Eric. What do you feel any pressure to, like, how are you, this is the question, how are you approaching becoming a man?
I feel like there's a lot of responsibilities. Like it kind of scares me sometimes because there's a lot of responsibilities, like paying taxes. You have to make sure you come to your job every day, your 9 to 5, and do the work every time. You have to make sure you have a stable income, and then sometimes when you get older, you have to take care of your kids. So it kind of scares me sometimes, but I feel like I'm trying to work towards getting comfortable with that fact.
Yeah. I want to ask you the same question, little Stu.
I think like what I want to do is like mature faster, so like I know what to do when that time comes, when I have to get a job or have kids and have to like pay all that stuff off. So just like try to do it now so I don't have to worry about it less when I get older.
Great answer. If you are just tuning in this week, you are rocking with the Money Sex Gen X podcast, season 3. We're talking about why are you a bad parent? I do want to jump in these comments real quick. What's up to Mike Tyler? I haven't seen you in a while, brother. It's great to have you back. He says he's an authoritative parent. He also says honesty is key. Betty Nelson says handsome sons. Definitely appreciate that comment.
Yep.
And yeah, we're just really chopping it up. We're getting some insight from these young Black men about parenting, their experiences with being parented, and as they've alluded to, being parents in the future. So I want to throw out something. So we're talking about parenting. What if somebody asked you all, what is the opposite of parenting? We're talking about what parenting is, but what is the opposite of parenting? No right answers. I'm glad that you all are thinking. But what's the opposite of being a parent?
Being a non-parent?
And what is that? That's a very literal answer. I love that. So let's talk a little bit more about that. I love that. So what is a non-parent? What
does that look like? Describe a non-parent.
Like someone who doesn't have kids yet?
Okay. I like that. That's true. That's
right. What would a non-parent be? Like, how would you describe me, or, how would you describe me if I was your dad, as a non-parent?
Oh, like you wouldn't be there for your kids.
Yeah, like what? Like, what does that look like?
You just like not taking care of them and not like seeing them.
Okay.
Because me and you, let's tap into that for a second. You and I, Trent, when the pandemic first hit, because I think we were trying to see each other. Trent, my son Trent, lives with his mom, right, for the most part. But we were seeing each other like maybe every weekend, every other weekend. There were some challenges about how often we were actually spending time. And then when that pandemic hit, those first 3, 4, 5 months, we didn't have any physical contact. How do you remember? Do you remember how we made it through? What were some of the things that we did to make it through while we tried to keep that contact going?
I mean, we usually FaceTime every day, so we still talked, but we just didn't see each other in person.
Yeah.
Wow.
No doubt. That's a beautiful thing. So you all figured out a way to keep that relationship going.
It was rough. It was rough at first because we were missing each other.
Yeah.
Both of us were, just a little, our anxieties were high about just the pain. It was like, don't touch nobody, don't go outside, don't breathe,
No doubt.
And so we started doing little workouts and FaceTime and doing workouts together and as much as we could, and it still wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. Little Eric, what's a non-parent look like for you?
I feel like somebody who walks out on their kids or doesn't take care of the responsibilities for their kids, like maybe like they when the time comes to pay for school or something, or pay for school supplies and stuff, and they have the money to pay for it and they don't. I feel like that's a non-parent, because it's like kind of you're keeping your money for yourself and not supporting your kids,
I like that.
or not helping your partner, your female partner out with like the rent and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There was one more piece one of the biggest complaints that I used to get from my son Trent was that I worked too much. So Trent, do you still feel like I work too much?
I mean, you still work, but like when I come over, you don't work as much.
So when you were coming over, I was still working, like on the computer working, bro. I'm working. How did that make you feel? And was that being a bad parent in your truth?
I mean, kind of, but I don't know. It kind of just felt that like your attention wasn't on me. It was like on the computer and stuff. But like I wasn't mad. But
yeah, you was mad, bro. Okay. You was mad. But okay. Little Eric, do you feel like dad works too much? Do you complain about him working too much?
I feel like he works like hard, but not really too much. Like, cause I would go to school. He usually gets his work done before I'm done with school. So
okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially during the summer, I would go to school and then come back, and he might work for an hour. And then after he's done, we might watch a TV show or play Uno with the family.
Dang. See, Trent. All right, Trent. I gotta have some work to do. Cause I'd be working, Trent. I'd be making gotta work, man. You gotta work. And you would, see, Eric. That's what I'm talking about. That. What was that? What's that style of parenting? That uninvolved. Uninvolved, man. He's there, I'm there, and he's feeling alone, and I'm saying I gotta work, but I'm trying to get better about it. As a matter of fact, last night somebody took all 3 of my mobile devices and wouldn't allow me to get on anything because Trent and I was supposed to be hanging out.
Okay.
So I had no devices. Had to sit there and hang out with Trent.
Yeah.
Well, we had a blast. Yeah.
That can be difficult sometimes. Yeah. I mean, I do remember that, and I don't know if Eric, if you remember this, I remember you and Asia kind of stepped to me sometime during COVID, and you were like, it seemed like I was always just working.
Oh, yeah.
And then when I came back, I had an attitude or something like that.
Yeah, because during COVID, it was because before COVID, it would be pretty simple. I'd go to summer camp. He would already be done with his work, and I'd come back. But during COVID, since I was always at home, he would be gone for most of the day at the office or something, and then come back. It'd be pretty kind of mad, and I really didn't notice it until like the later parts of COVID. But I get kind of mad, and then like spend like double the time, like maybe 2 hours in the room, and then we start going playing Uno and stuff like that.
What was going on, Big E? What was going on, Eric?
Man, it was just a lot of stress, and that's what I tried to relay to them. Like sometimes when you're a parent, you have these moments, just like when we're talking about uninvolved, and I'm learning this in this conversation. You might not be uninvolved generally, but you might be uninvolved for a quarter or a month or a week. So, they stepped to me with it. I was a little irritated initially. 'initially.                                                                                                             when they came to me with it, but I had to that was their perspective, and we worked it out, you know. But it definitely was something that had to be addressed, and I appreciate them for bringing it to my attention.
Yeah, little Eric and little Stu, you guys have a lot more in common than I realized, because little Stu and I were just talking about that with me yesterday. Remember that? Remember that, Trent?
Oh,
We're talking
yeah.
about how I used to be grumpy. What were you describing? Tell the people what we were talking about.
Because I would say, like, when I came over during COVID time, he would be like more grumpy. I don't know if it was because he was tired of working so much, but like his attitude sometimes changed, and I don't know why, but like he just got way more grumpy than usual.
I wasn't always smiling like this, was I?
Nah.
Yeah, it was a stressful time for everybody, no question.
Yeah. Interesting, man.
Now, I want to get into this. I've been wanting to talk about this for a while, and I see Big Stu has done some conversations about this in a variety of different places. I want to ask Little Stu and Little Eric, what are parents missing about how you all are being educated, especially during COVID? Now, I'll share this, and I don't think Eric will mind me sharing this, but Eric, he's in these classes on Zoom and all this stuff, or, you know, they got to use the iPad. And he's always complaining about the fact that they want him to show his face on the camera. And we're going to talk about that, but I think it leads to a bigger question. It's like, I just want to know, like, what are we as parents not understanding about your experiences in school?
I think, like, for me, because we still have 8 to 3 on Zoom, so like we have to stay there looking at the computer for 5 to 7 hours. So like I don't think that's what people understand. And then like if you turn your camera off, like you could get in bad trouble. So you can't turn your camera off and you don't get any breaks. So like that's why like I don't really like how they formatted online school. Really, I think they did like a terrible job on it.
Okay.
What did you want me to do, and what have I done about it?
I wanted him to email my principal to tell him to change the schedule, and then like he's gonna have like a board meeting Monday, right?
Tuesday.
Finally
got him to listen to me.
Taking action. Okay.
Yeah. What about you? What do we need to understand?
That's a real dad for you.
Man, I like them. I like them fights. I'll go to battle for that.
Yeah. Now I know little Eric has a lot to say about this, especially this camera situation. Let him know.
I feel like keeping your camera on is not really the right way to go, to be honest, because you're on Zoom, just like you said, for 5 to 7 hours. There's no breaks, and you have to keep your camera on. But not only that, you're not in a school environment. You're at home. There's my mom walking past me behind the camera, opening the fridge. There's TV going on in the background. And then usually I wake up and I have like hair messed up, I guess. And then I have to go to Zoom and then show all that.
Yeah. So as a follow-up to that comment, and thank you for sharing that, what are maybe me and your mom missing the boat on? What are we not understanding about that for you? You think?
I think the only thing you guys aren't really understanding is that it's not online school. It really isn't the same thing as real school where you can just show your face and all that. I feel like since it's online and there's all that stuff going on in the home environment, I feel like it would be right to make us show our face.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm an advocate. I'm a staunch advocate for that, man. I don't think you don't need your camera on. I definitely understand those nuances. And I've told Trent, I don't know if this is bad parenting or not, but I've told him every single time, like, if you don't want your camera on, turn it off and have him call me, He hasn't done it, of course, because he's not that kind of kid, but I've been making it clear that they've got to do something different. I think I've been a major supporter of Trent and his mental health during these times. Like, you know, we want him to stay healthy. So I've suggested stuff like, and that's not necessarily it wasn't necessarily received well by the co-parent, but I've suggested take the day off. You'll be okay. Like one day is not going to hurt you. And I mean, that's probably not what parents should be telling, but it's okay. And you know, Trent turned around his grades. He's got what 5 A's and 1 B this quarter. You know, and so I'm super excited about that. But I'm huge supporter of, and this is where that permissive comes in, Eric, the permissive style of parenting. Do what you need to do to feel good about yourself. Do what you need to do. Like, there's no straight path to success in life. Now, little Eric, if what I'm saying don't gel with your pops, listen to your pops. But Big Stu over here saying some probably what most parents might consider some wild things.
True indeed. True indeed. I wouldn't consider it wild, but I think it's interesting because we told Eric the exact opposite. So
what'd you tell him?
My son is like me in the sense that he got that McLeod in him, so he's taking a little time out here and there, right? You know
with permission or without permission?
Non-permission, taking a little time out. But we told him the exact opposite, that you do need to cut your camera on because it was coming up so much that it was being, and I don't necessarily think this is right on the part of the teachers, but they're basically interpreting that as non-participation. So we can't have that. But I think in this conversation, I'm sort of learning to broaden my perspective about how Eric may be feeling in this situation. I mean, like Trent said, and little Eric also emphasized, it's like, yo, I'm sitting in front of a computer for 5, 6, 7 hours. That's a lot.
Eric, you wouldn't do it. I can't do it.
I can't do it.
So, you know, I don't know where this conversation will end up a year from now, but listen, I tell my son all the time, take a break if you need one.
Yeah.
Bro, this is middle school. This is 6th grade. You do this once. You do adulting for the majority of your life. Like, you'll be okay. Because my son is smart though, man. Like, he okay. He's good. He can read. He can write. He can do math. I mean, if you know, and he doesn't have behavior issues. He's articulate. He's a thinker. Bro, he's going to be fine in life. I'm not suggesting that he can drop out of school. I'm not suggesting that his grades can drop, because none of that is going. We're not going for none of that. But you deserve a break. Like Trent and I do this. I give him one. What do we call it, Trent? 1 day a year. You get he can cut school, if you call it whatever. You get 1 day a year where we can do whatever you want. You pick when you want that day, but I'll give you 1 day a year. We can go do whatever we can do in the day, because you got to do that. I think you got to do that sometimes. So let's go to the comments a little bit here. We got Mike Tyler that says, I guess he's talking about what makes for a bad parent, or the opposite of a bad parent. Someone who has to sacrifice only for the prosperity of themselves as opposed to someone else. That sounds like someone who is selfish.
Yeah.
And then Rosalind says, she's talking about school. She said, at school, you are not staring at the teacher the entire time. That's difficult. No one will stay still or in one position. That's too much for that amount of time. Bravo, young men.
Bravo, absolutely. Bravo.
And Betty says, that's a lot of time on Zoom or in Google Meets or Google Classroom or whatever LMS learning management software you're using. And it is, Betty. It is.
Yes, it is. And I've grown in this conversation because when I think about it, I don't like being on Zoom. I hate Zoom. But I'm asking my child to be on, to hold it down for 6 hours straight. That's a lot.
Yeah. I have a question for the boys. The boys. Do you ever think about what type of parent you will be? or do you desire to be? Trent, I see you're pretty adamant about this one. What you got?
Great question.
I think like I'm gonna like have like ground rules for my kids, like, and I'm not gonna just get them whatever they want. Like, I'm just gonna tell them they have to work for it because like I don't want them to grow up and like be like the one person who only wants materialistic stuff and not want to work for it and stuff.
You sound like you speaking from some experience, brother. You done been through some stuff, seen some things, huh?
Yeah.
You've witnessed children who were spoiled as kids and grow up to be spoiled brats. You've witnessed that?
Yeah.
Intriguing.
We won't get into those.
We won't get into that. Intriguing.
Being the youngest sometimes has its advantages. You've seen a lot of things. As with my girls, I have 2 girls, Trent's older 2 sisters, and Trent and I have talked. I spoiled these girls rotten. My daughter Brooke, for her 10th birthday, we spent it in Vegas.
Nice.
For her 10th birthday, bro. She don't know nothing about Vegas.
That's epic. That's epic. Yes.
For her 8th birthday, she got a stretch Cadillac Escalade and her and a few of her girlfriends went to the American Girl store, took their dolls to the hospital, and had dinner at 8 years old. That is bad parenting.
For the record, I didn't make it to Vegas. I was in my 30s.
Come on, man.
So
What was I thinking?
Man, it's cool. Good she had that experience. I'm not going to comment on whether your sister was spoiled because I don't think that's a good sort of conversation to have here. But yeah, I mean, I think with parents, and I'm saying this to you all because you all are clearly, and I want to get your comment about what kind of parents you're going to be. But I'll just say this, like, especially as a man, we feel good about having the means to do something like that. We know that it might be a little much or someone may perceive it as that, but it makes us feel good. Because remember, I took you and your sister to Vegas maybe 2 years ago, 2-3 years ago. I felt so good doing that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just one of the things that make me feel the most manly and the most successful is taking my children on vacation. That's the ultimate parenting thing to do. Like to be able to take your kids on a memorable vacation and you actually have fun and you can relax. That is it for me. You know what I mean? So I respect the fact that you took your daughter to Vegas.
Yeah. I remember taking Trent when my dad was still alive. Trent and I alone, when he doesn't even remember, he was maybe 1, maybe 2. We flew to Vegas to see my dad, just he and I. And that was one of the proudest moments of my life, taking my firstborn son on an airplane trip across the country. But little Eric, let's get to what do you ever think about what type of parent you'd be?
Honestly, no.
Oh, okay.
I don't think so. But I feel like if I was a parent, I'd be kind of in a permissive and authoritative parent. Like kind of like I won't really make a big deal about anything. But if my kids end up being like successful in their grades or starting a business or something, I will reward that.
So that's a great answer for the two of you. And I know Trent has some plans for the day, and he's going to need to jump off shortly in a few minutes here. But I do have a question for you, Eric, and maybe Lil Stu, you can answer this question. As you are approaching your teens, what type of relationship would you like from your father now? You're not 8 anymore. You're not 6 or 10. You're about to be 13. The both of you this year will be 13. What type of relationship would you like with your father going forward? Well, Eric, I'm starting with you, or whoever wants to go first.
I'll go first, I guess. I'd probably say positive because I've seen like a lot of kids, like when I reach their teens, they end up having a negative relationship with their parents. So I'll try to have as positive as a relationship as I can.
That's what's up.
I think I would still like want to talk to you as much as I can because like what he said, like I see like relationships when people get older, they just go down. So I just would try to like want to keep it up as much as possible and try to talk to you as much as I can.
Yeah, that's what's up. Well, bro, I'm here for you. I know, Eric, I hear a lot of parents that talk about, don't try to be friends with your kids. And I get that. I get that. But, I really want my son to feel like, honestly, that he can talk to me about anything.
Same here.
I want him to feel that way.
Same here.
So I am trying to foster, and I would need to hear from the crowd, from the people online, and need to hear from you. I don't know if it's a good parenting or not, but I'm trying to foster a relationship with my son that it's not authoritative. It's not authoritarian. It's of respectful, just pure respect. And I think if we have a good respect for each other, the relationship should be phenomenal.
Yeah, I like that sentiment. I also feel that, just adding on, I don't see anything wrong with being friends with your children because it sounds like that's what you were describing. I mean, I understand why people say that, but I do feel like I have a friendship with my children. What type of friendship? Yeah, it's a child-father friendship. It's not the same friendship I would have with you, for example.
Yeah.
But I do think it's a friendship because I feel like with friends, it goes beyond my responsibilities and it gets into us being comfortable with one another. And to your point, Big Stu, being able to share openly, even if it's not something that's not so great. That's what you typically do with your friends.
Yeah.
I got one more question I want to ask you, Little Stu, before you have to jump off, and Little Eric, you can jump off as well. But I want to ask this one question that's been burning, and I guess this is Eric's burning question.
Hey, I like Eric's burning question. I love Eric's burning question.
So every couple of episodes we do a burning question. It'll be something that I'm really thinking about, or something that's provocative, or just an interesting question. I want to know from you all, what is your understanding of how Black fathers are portrayed in the media?
Like I see like a lot of people say that like Black fathers aren't there for their kids and like they were never there for them, and like yeah, that's what I mainly see. Like, they just left their kids.
And how do you feel, Little Stu, when you see those comments?
It makes me feel bad because like I know that's not true for a lot of people, but like since the media thinks that, they're just gonna keep it going, I guess.
Absolutely. Beautiful answer. What about you, Little Eric?
I feel like their representation is poor. I feel like they represent Black fathers as people who are never there in prison and criminals. They never portray Black fathers as good parents in the media. I see a lot of TV shows where Black parents are criminals who shoot other people and stuff, but I've never, to this day, I've only seen one show, I feel like, where it's a Black parent who's actually represented in a positive way.
And what show was that?
Blackish.
Black?
One of my favorites.
Yeah. Blackish. Okay.
I bought a tracksuit the other day with Kenya Barris in mind.
Yeah. He liked those tracks.
Oh, and Black AF, I guess.
Black AF. Yeah.
Oh, that's the one. That's what I was thinking about.
We're big fans of Black AF in our household. Well, some of us are. Asia is not feeling it, but
both of them are good shows. For us, for me, it was the Cosby Show.
The Cosby Show. Okay.
And Good Times.
No.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we can't forget that. No question. All right, fellas, well, we know you got to go. You got things to do. Is there anything you want to tell the audience before you jump off?
Thank you for having me on the show. Yeah.
Absolutely. Sound
You
just like
know,
your
bro.
father. You sound like your father, very professional. That's what's up. Any closing thoughts, little Eric?
It's just thank you for having me on the show, and we talked about a lot of great topics, and yeah. Oh, and go watch my YouTube channel.
You tell me YouTube channel again.
That one puffy hair kid.
That one
Wait. Let me get it. That one puffy
haired.
haired
Oh yeah, haired kid.
like this.
Yeah.
I think there's a one.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah,
That one ONE.
yeah.
That one puffy haired kid.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
YouTube.
Yep.
Go
And
check
he
it out.
had this video on it. I hope he puts back up. They got a lot of views. He was talking about his experiences with selling candy and using that experience to catapult him to the class president at that time. So we need to get that back up, but we'll talk about that at another time. But thank you both, gentlemen, for joining today. We made history today because I don't think I've ever seen this.
Now they're gonna be following our trail after this, E. You know that, man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Y'all got to do your own show and make it happen. So
I appreciate you, young guys. Keep doing your thing. Until next time, for you two. Of course, Eric and I will stay on. But thank you, Trent. Thank you, little Eric. I appreciate you guys. And maybe we'll get you back one of these days.
Okay.
All right. We'll talk to y'all soon.
Nice. Talk to you soon.
Wow, that was fun.
Wow. We did that, man.
Yeah, that was a nice conversation.
Wow. Your kid is smart, man. Your kid is highly intelligent. He's very intellectual.
And your son is absolutely the same. It's a beautiful thing to see. It's a great representation of, and we can toot our own horn a little bit, I think. I mean, it's a great representation of what we've tried to bring to the table for our kids.
Man, I wasn't expecting it because my son, he's quiet. My son he's a bit of a recluse.
Mm-hmm.
He's a bit of a recluse. He was really kind of nervous about getting on here today.
Okay.
It'd be cool, you got it. And he represented well. Had I not said that, I don't think anybody would have known that.
Yeah, my son is like me. He's laid back, but he got that other side where he can, perform or try to be animated at times. So it was cool. I didn't know if he wanted to do it, but it was a blessing that he came on. I'm really glad that happened.
All right, man. Let's get to the rest of this show.
Let's push. So we got to end on time. We said we're going to end on time for every episode. So that was Why Are You a Bad Parent? If you're just tuning in, you missed a beautiful conversation. You can go back and watch the entire episode in the next couple of days on well, that's kind of old school to say that, MONEYSEXGENXpodcast.com. I'm showing my age. Back in the day, we used to say www.MONEYSEXGENXpodcast. We don't do that anymore, so I retract that. So MONEYSEXGENXpodcast.com. We got the audio, the video, however you want to consume the content. And you also get the link to the merch that Stu was talking about. Let me just say this real quick about the merch. The merch is not about us trying to force some products down your throat. We're trying to create a movement with this show.
Yeah.
The show, we're trying to make this more than just a podcast conversation. We're trying to create a platform, and you're all going to see that emerge over time. We want to continue to bring on other dope, fun, entertaining Gen Xers. We want to create an outlet in a lane and eventually get this thing, continue to get it deep, because it's a great representation of Black men. 2, Gen Xers are dope. We got a lot to offer, but we haven't been portrayed very well in the media, so we're trying to flip that. And 3, the merch is just a representation of the spirit or the soul of the show, the movement. The hoodie, the MONEYSEXGENX hoodie, the MONEYSEXGENX mug with the red piping, whatever it is, it's just part of the movement. So
that's right.
If you want to support the show, go do that. We would love you to do so.
Appreciate that.
All right, so now we get into our segment called Characters from Corporate. We do this pretty much every episode. It's an opportunity for you to write in or email in and let us know something you're going through in corporate, right? We all go through stuff. And we give a little bit of feedback, a little bit of game. So this week, Stu, Characters from Corporate is coming from It's written in like this. I am 32 years old. I'm a Black woman from Orlando, Florida.
Shout out to Orlando, Florida.
Shout out to Orlando. I don't think we had Orlando before.
Hot now.
She says, I work in retail at one of the larger retailers in Orlando. My issue in corporate is that my coworkers continue to talk crazy to me in every chance that they get. Now, let me explain what I mean by talking crazy. What I mean by that is they're talking to me like I'm a little kid. They have attitudes when I ask questions, and they seem very dismissive of me in general. I am getting tired of it. I feel like I present myself professionally. I'm one of the best salespeople in that store, bringing a ton of revenue. I feel like I deserve respect. Do you feel like it's time for me to go off on one of my coworkers and basically take a stand? Or am I tripping? And do you feel like I'm the character in this situation?
I'm actually going let's stick with the program. How old did she say she was?
32 years old. 32-year-old Black woman from Orlando, Florida.
Sweetie, from Big Stu to you, it's time for you to grow up. I believe you're the character, sweetie. You gotta grow up. You gotta grow up. It ain't them. They bringing it to you. Everybody bringing it to you. It's you, babe. It's you. It's you, babe. I've been there. I've been there. It's you just got to grow up. You just got to mature. They wouldn't be coming at you sideways if they didn't have a reason to come at you sideways.
Nice. Can you elaborate on that?
I mean, like at that age of 30, man, you're young, man. You think you got it all figured out. You think you know what it is. Maybe you got a degree, maybe you don't, but you got this job. You're the top salesperson, and you're probably strutting around there like a peacock. You know what I mean? And you ain't did nothing yet. I mean, yeah, you top salesperson, but I've been there. I've been 30 and the top salesperson in my office. I handled the entire East Coast and 3 provinces in Canada. And I'm telling you, I thought I was everything. And I was wet behind the ears. And its hindsight is always 20/20. But I think when you really get some experience, it'll show up in how you talk. It'll show up in what you contribute. It'll show up in not only in your work, but in your leadership capacity. And people will approach you in a way that you know that you've earned. And you won't feel like they talking to you like you a kid. If you feel like they talking to you like you're a kid, it's probably valid. Your feelings are valid. And that's what I mean. Your feelings are valid. Your feelings are valid. So what you believe and what you feel is your truth. And that's the type of truth that Trent says that I give to her that hurts sometimes. Listen, and I'm not just giving it. I have to evaluate myself sometimes too. The truth hurts me too sometimes.
Right.
But I believe you're the character, baby. You gotta get a little more experience under your belt. It's you. What do you say, E?
Wow, $1 million worth of game from Big Stu.
Man.
Please take heed to that. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, we have to take responsibility for how we're presenting ourselves, how we're feeling. One of the biggest things that I learned, because I've always been a person that will strike immediately when spoken to in a certain way. And I don't mean always physically, but just strike back. You do have some ability to control how you feel about somebody talking to you a certain way. So I think sometimes we've been programmed to think that if somebody's doing, and I guess you haven't done this, young lady from Orlando, because you're saying they're talking crazy to you, but it doesn't sound like you've struck back yet. But I'm really talking more about the emotional part of it. You can decide how you feel about that. You don't have to go to a lane of you having to feel like you're upset. And so you have to think about, how do I want to feel about this? And then you might ultimately decide, I want to feel upset. I'm going to step to them and rectify it. But just make sure, young lady, that you understand that you do have a choice.
You do have a choice. That's a good point, man.
Yeah, characters from corporate.
Very poignant. Characters from corporate. Good stuff. Thank you for writing that story in, and I hope you use it to your advantage. Use the feedback to your advantage.
No doubt. And you all out there, please keep writing in Characters in Corporate. I keep saying writing in, but send us an email. You can go on our website and actually leave a text message or some type of message to get to us. We want to hear them. There's really nothing off limits. Not going to mention your name. You're not going to mention your coworkers' names or anything like that. But these are some important lessons for us to talk to. I kind of view them, Big Stu, as case studies.
Case studies.
Remember case studies back in school?
Yeah.
Business school. Some people went to business school or whatever. They had case studies. I always learn a lot from those. That's how I view these. They're sort of case studies about different people, dealing with people in corporate.
Yeah, man.
So, yeah. All right. So we're coming up on time. So let's rock out. You got a pool artist for us this week?
I do, man. I do. I know we got a kids show. And I won't say it's really kids, but we had our kids on the show. So I got to find something that makes sense for, they might tell their parents, they may, their friends and maybe want to have them tune in. So we're going to go to a group called Not Them.
Not Them. I remember them. Yeah.
Yeah. And let's go before we have one more comment here from Betty. And this is, I guess, in response to the Characters from Corporate. You control how you feel.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Betty. So the song that we're going to go to for our pool listen. Thank you for sharing that, Betty. Let me get this set up properly here. The song that we're going to go to is from Not Them. It's called Family.
Okay.
Family. Now, if everybody remembers, Not Them is the husband-wife duo, Chris and P. Marie. And the name of this song is Family.
Family. All right. Before you jump in real quick, sir, I wanted to say that next week is Are You Soft for Living in the Suburbs? Please tune in for that. All right.
Are you soft for living in the suburbs? Family. Not Them.
I might not have had the ideal family life experience growing up, but I am thankful for the experience I did have, because through the pain and loneliness, something good came out of it. Made me really cherish and appreciate life and appreciate family. Cherish my family, nourish my family, and value family. Because this world does a real good job at encouraging us to remain boys and girls forever, always at play. But queens and kings, pick up your crowns and walk in your royalty. Because you know what they say, a man's true wealth lies within his family. So keep your families together and do right by them, because family is our future. Family is what's real. Family is everything. My best to stay alive, tussling up against the ties, struggling, but I'll be alright. Staying focused between the lines, praying against committing crime. The devil plays the idle mind, so I stay busy and hard to find. Many blind and they lost their mind. Don't look back, keep ahead of time. Ain't no stores in my neighborhood, and kids grow up with no childhood. Bang poppin', stuck in the cage, pill poppin', stuck in the days. Teach the babies it's all a craze, purple drinking some lemonade. They don't want us to hide kids, they just want to see how I live. They don't want us to hide kids, they just want to see how I live. Teach the babies.
That sound like that West Side flow, man.
Yeah, it is.
Teach the babies, teach the babies, teach the babies. They don't want us to hide kids, they just want to see how I live. They all just want to profit, they all just want to profit. Teach the babies, teach the babies, teach the babies, teach the babies, teach the babies,
teach the babies, man.
They don't want us to hide kids, living life like a savage, chopping hard with a passion, chasing death like a maverick, living life up the lavish, but with nothing established. The block is hot, we come from nothing, we grind hard and feet be buzzing, but they don't want us to get out. Keep you here with a clenched mouth, Section 8 on the wait list, keeping us separated. Jim Crow is still alive, killing troops and telling lies. Many lives been victimized, all for show, televised. They don't want us to hide kids, they just want to see how I live. They all just want to profit, they all just want to profit. Teach the babies, teach the babies, teach the
babies.
Teach babies.
Teach the babies. Teach the babies. Teach the babies, man. That's Not Them. Started off with Family, and then we ended that with Teach the Babies by Not Them.
We would be remiss if we didn't tell the people where they can go to hear more tracks like that.
Oh, man. They can go to MONEYSEXGENX.com. MONEYSEXGENX.com, as Eric would say, www. MONEYSEXGENX.com. Go check that out.
MONEYSEXGENX.com. Dive in.
It's been a great show, man. Until next time, my brother.
Until next time, happy birthday, my brother. Tomorrow, we're going to have a lot of fun and represent 5-0 to the fullest.
Got a lot of things in store. Thank you, man, and enjoy the rest of your
This that raw, that dope, that pure uncut cocaine. All that weight I lost, I gained it back through the social distancing. Got released, did another prison sentence. So many days that I spent repenting, cause things not going the way I envision. I'm rapping like me from a different dimension. I only got love for particular bitches. You was struggling vicious, wishing that you hit me. Now you call that other nigga your baby daddy. Wet works. My estimated net worth is enough to make your chest hurt. Knees buckle. You captivated. Back in our last.